to our children's class. It's day 5 or 4?
We can say 5.
Yeah.
I think we are losing the track of time. Sorry, do you remember that we talked about
Manifestations of God.
Yeah. So there is another story that we would like to share with you, and it's about the fact that God watches over us and takes care of us, and we live under His protection. And we live under the protection of His manifestations, whose knowledge is given to us, whose knowledge of God is given to us through His manifestations. So there was this merchant who was really well known and really affluent, rich, and he had lots of businesses, and he had so many different locations. But you know what was his wish during the time of Baha'u'llah?
To see him?
Exactly. He wrote a letter to Baha'u'llah asking that he goes on pilgrimage and see Baha'u'llah. But Baha'u'llah wrote back to him and gave him permission only if he pay off all of his debt. Do you know what is a debt? When you borrow some money to do some business. Yeah?
Yeah.
So Baha'u'llah basically asked him to give back
all the money he borrowed.
Yeah. So this merchant had a very large business and had so much debt. So he started little by little paying back all of these money that he would have otherwise used to expand his business, buy more merchandise. So every time he would receive any money, just start paying back his debt little by little. So the business actually started to shrink because he couldn't expand anymore. And after 5 years, when all his debts were paid, he was no longer a rich man.
Oh.
In fact, he only had enough money to provide for his wife and buy a ticket and travel to Haifa to see to see Baha'u'llah.
So he was like a poor man or like a normal man?
Well, he just had enough money to travel, and he used to travel in luxury, but now he had to stay on deck of a ship, and so he didn't have really nice and fancy clothes anymore. And finally, when he got to Haifa, on the day of his arrival, so Baha'u'llah had told someone to go and pick him up. So they were expecting, because Baha'u'llah has told them there is an honored man that is coming. I'm having such an important visitor today. You guys need to go and pick him up. Someone went to the deck and noticed that, went to the station where the boats were landing, and they didn't see anyone important with, fancy clothes. So they thought that, this important person hasn't arrived. That person who was going to pick him up went back to Baha'u'llah and said, I don't think he's there, because he was in kind of ragged clothes. And the man, this merchant man was very sad. He sat down at a corner and it was cold, and he started to really be disappointed. That all of these thoughts came to his mind, that maybe Baha'u'llah had even forgotten about me, that I don't even have an address to go to his house, and he was very sad. A lot of doubt came to his mind. But that Baha'u'llah,
he would never forget.
Yeah, and he knew about this whole situation, right? So this time he told Abdul Baha to go himself to pick him up. So Abdul Baha went to the station, and of course he knew that man who is sitting very, very sad at a corner, cold in ragged clothes, is actually that important guest.
Whoa.
Yeah.
How did he find out?
he knew it, you know, it was Abdu'l-Baha. So he went and sat next to him and used his coat and wrapped it around both of them and warmed him up.
Both of them?
Yeah, so because it was cold.
There was
so
another person there?
himself and the...
Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah, so, and then the man got very happy. Immediately recognized Abdu'l-Baha that he was the honored guest, and it was now late night.
Well, took that long.
Yeah, it was now late night, and you know, they explained what happened, and it was now, you know, Abdu'l-Baha asked him if he would like to go to the house now and meet Baha'u'llah right away, but he chose to take the night and just pray and clean up his heart because of all the bad thoughts that had gone to his mind during that time. And he no longer felt ready to enter the presence of Baha'u'llah. He wanted to spend the night in prayer and meditation to prepare himself for such great bounty. Abdu'l-Baha, of course, understood this. He sat on the bench and they talked for a long time, and they both have some protection from the cold now. And throughout the night, Abdu'l-Baha with the merchant, they prayed and let their souls be filled with joy of the kingdom. Then in the morning, Abdul Karim, this merchant, purified and freed, appeared before Baha'u'llah and received a plentiful share of divine love and bounty.
Well, he at last probably got to see Baha'u'llah. That was a happy story. So, whoa.
Yeah.
He paid off all those debts and kind of became a poor man.
Yeah.
Just to see Abdu'l-Baha.
Yeah, and don't you think that we are always under the protection? So we shouldn't be ever worried about anything. Because the manifestations of God are here to shed God's love and protection on us. We should just trust and be happy.
So, end of day 4 or 5? 5, yeah, 5. See you next time.